Hey everyone. Yeah, it's about 8:36, so I figure I might as well do this while I can before my mom gets up. But I wanted to talk about two TV tropes today, kind of double your pleasure on them. One of them kind of relates back to my last TV trope video, and another came up because I typed in something that I was wondering if it really happened, and much to my surprise, it did, and I want to discuss that. But the first one I want to talk about is Um, the first one I want to talk about is absorption. Now, there's plenty of ways of how an absorption or something being absorbed can be interpreted in television and movies. Sometimes or even comics. Some people like to absorb energy, like we're currently seeing in Worlds Unite. Some people like to absorb the elements so they can gain the powers to use those elements as their own. Some people like to absorb life force, thus aging someone to older than what they are. But then there's another form of absorption, and it's something that obviously Japan's a fan of, and we've seen here in the US as well. The absorption I'm talking about is when another character absorbs another character into them and either takes on their traits. In other words, they start growing out their hair kind of mixes, the hair style kind of, or the hair coloring mixes in with the coloring of the person they absorb. They're gaining mass, if you know what I mean. The facial features might change a little bit, eye coloring might change, stuff like that. And when I look at that kind of absorption, it makes me wonder, and I'm sure anybody else asks this question, as to why it's such a popular trait, or it's a popular trope. And I think it's because sometimes, going back to the last TV trope I talked about, it creates suspense for the newer fans and the established fans. Because sometimes you will have a main character sometimes get absorbed into another character for the remainder of an episode, or maybe the remaining 20 minutes of a movie or something like that. But yet you know they're going to be okay. And one always wonders exactly what does happen to someone when they get absorbed, a character like that. Well, going back to the Pokemon, uh, the eighth Pokemon movie, it kind of gave us an idea. You see, what I talked about in the last TV trope about how these blob things absorbed Ash, Kid, May, Brock, and even Jesse and James. I kind of wanted to see exactly how they got restored, and it seemed to me that what these blobs did is when they absorbed them and shrunk down, basically back into the tree at beginning, that it turned those that they absorbed into them into like little green orbs that they were filtering, I guess, towards the heart of the tree, or at least filtering it in, towards some kind of section of the tree to keep it sustained. But it was thanks to Mew and its connection with the tree at the beginning to kind of convince them, hey, you got the wrong people here. So they will let go. Then, of course, we had a movie that came out then we had another Pokemon movie that came out 2 years before. And that was the sixth movie. And it was a fake kind of Pokemon, kind of a fake, phony, what was the old name they used to use? Persido, kind of like Pokemon, that absorbed other Pokemon as well as anyone around it to obtain its energy, or to grow more powerful. Now, one of the characters that it absorbed was the Dana character. It absorbed Team Rocket. It absorbed Mai and Brock and their Pokemon. But the question is, what exactly did it do to them? Did it turn them into orbs and it just absorbed them into them and they became part of it? Because it seemed like anytime he absorbed someone, he absorbed somebody in the sixth movie. That, as some people call it, Godzilla-like Pokemon, fake one, that was made of goo, Goozilla as they call it, glowed. But fortunately, just like in the 8th movie, those that got absorbed were free. But the question is, what exactly happened? Well, the person that put up the clip from the 8th Pokemon movie, as I mentioned before, whose YouTube channel is QASFF. One of the first clips he put up was from, believe it or not, an adult anime. And one of the main characters got basically absorbed into whatever thing they were in. Basically, she was absorbed into the ground of whatever thing they were in, like quicksand. And the next time we see her, she's hooked up like this, with her arms kind of stuck in, stuck inside the flesh of whatever this thing is, along with her legs. So it kind of makes you wonder if perhaps that's what's going on. If maybe they're just captured like this, and all they're being used off is being siphoned off is as energy. And Japan has been known to do this with our animes. They have been. Dragon Ball Z is a good example, especially with the character of Cell. Cell absorbed, most notably, Android 17 and 18. Turned them into like little bulges when they got swallowed, and into they became a part of it. So sometimes that's also a way of looking at how someone gets absorbed. They get turned into a little ball where they're still present, but their energy is being siphoned off. American-wise, we have seen this too. Archie's Weird Mysteries has done this many times. I don't know if it was one of the first 5-6 episodes, but in it, all the, Betty, along with some of the minor characters and stuff, and extras, got absorbed into this dough-like creature blob, and she was able to break free, but she got absorbed back in. And it kind of makes you think, are they kind of like this inside the blob? Like they were stuck. Like they can't be let go because it's just whatever. And then, of course, you have Hulk and Agent of Smash and the crossover with Ultimate Spider-Man. And in the episode where they deal with Venom, and I even ranted about this on here on YouTube, basically this version of Venom absorbed those around him and took the shape of whoever he absorbed. One of them, of course, was She-Hulk, and She-Hulk tried to basically fight her way out. And that's another thing when it comes to the absorption trope. Sometimes whatever character, whether it's male or female, sometimes female, nothing offensive there, will try to push their way out, like stick their face out before it gets sucked back in. This happened to Lois Lane in the crossover with Batman and Superman in the Batman series. Not the original Batman animated series, but the Batman series, where she got absorbed into the body of Clayface, and Clayface, which I think was the second Clayface or something like that, second or third, and he turned into a spider, and you see her face kind of stick out first as an imprint before it pushes all the way out. Sort of like I said with She-Hulk, but she got sucked back in. The point is, there's many ways of looking at character absorption, looking at the absorption of a character into another character. Sometimes they take on their traits, the physical appearance, the coloring of their hairs, mixed together, stuff like that. And what makes it so interesting is it's a trope that's used more often than not in anime, Western animation, live action, comic books, movies, than you can even think of. And most times when a character, whether it's a main character, a major character, or whatever, or even a minor character gets absorbed, it's only temporary for, like I said before, for maybe 15-20 minutes left of the movie or the episode, or maybe even 5 minutes when it comes to an episode. But what's strange about it is when this happens, they don't even show the characters trying to, like a bulge or anything, like a shape of a face or a bulge. I mean, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Sometimes the faces are the ones that get shown, and that's it. But you don't see like a hand or anything. You just kind of see them like get absorbed in, and all of a sudden they're just like twisted all about. It's like, what the heck? But then again, that's what makes it intriguing. You're wondering, well, if they're still alive, how the heck are they able to live if they're being distorted and all that? So, but that's what makes the absorption trope such an interesting thing to look at. And it's such an interesting trope to use in these kind of medias. But let me know what you guys' take is on that. Now, the other trope I want to talk about is something that really kind of is unique. I recently watched Nostalgia Critic's newest video, his top 11 TV intros. One of the intros he had up there was Bucky O'Hare's. And in the intro, we were basically given an introduction to some of the characters. Of course, Bucky, then all of a sudden we had Jenny, and, Jenny the white cat in the show, and all that. So it got me interested about one thing, because it also had a human character in there called Willie. Now, this human character, I guess according to some, was maybe 10, 11, 12 years old, 13 at most. And what was funny about this is I got a little curious. I guess you kind of let the curiosity get the best of me. So I typed in Bucky O'Hare, Jenny kisses Willie. And I'm thinking, okay, it's probably just going to be fan art, right? Wrong. It's actually two out of the first 3 episodes that she actually kisses Willie. She kisses Willie on the cheek in the first episode, towards the end of the first episode, and then at the end of the 3rd episode, she kisses him on the lips. And he blushes both times, and it's like the 3rd time, he's like, hey, he doesn't really mind, he's used to it. And this got a lot of people wondering, what were the people of this show thinking? Because he's basically an anthropomorphic alien cat who is kind of like royalty, I think, in a sense. And she's kissing and hugging, and I guess you could say at some point crushing on this 11 to 13-year-old kid from Earth. To the point that not only does she kiss him on the cheek, first time, and this is the first time they meet in the first episode, but then in the 3rd episode, she kisses him on the lips. And then apparently, I think she has a relative or a friend or something like that ends up crushing on him too and kisses him, and it's like, what's going on? But again, this is just mostly about Jenny doing that to Willie, and it's like, a lot of people wonder, well, what is this about? Why is she doing this? And I think this brings up an interesting trope. Now, I don't know if TVTropes talks about it, but this brings up an interesting trope of the femme fatales, or the femme fatale love interest, or crushes. And basically the femme fatales falling for the unexpected. Because you see, anytime there's always a show like, let's say, Bucky O'Hare, where you have a kid involved, you always expect, if there's an attractive female, that something's going to happen, that the kid's going to crush on the attractive female, right? And it happens. It does. I mentioned, the Buzz Blitzman episode of Mighty Ducks in my top 15 intro, my top 15 cartoons in the past 30 years. And in that episode, it was stated obvious that Buzz Blitzman had a huge crush on Mallory, an anthropomorphic alien duck. So, it makes you wonder, why do they do this? I mean, there's a movie called Blank Check, and even though it's all human, it's live action, it basically has the youngster, the love interest, it basically has this grown, almost what is it, 20-year-old, 22-year-old woman becoming like a love interest to this 13, 15-year-old kid, maybe even younger. And you're thinking, what in the world is going on here? And I think it's more about, when I look at it, to use the title of a song from Mariah Carey, It's a dream lover trope. Basically, what these people behind these shows and movies do, or are doing when they do this kind of stuff, is they're creating a dream lover scenario. It's like, okay, if you're Willie and Bucky O'Hare, put yourself in his shoes if suddenly you have this attractive anthropomorphic girl, feline girl, if you will, kissing on you, hugging you, not just kissing you on the cheek, but kissing you on the lips, basically crushing on you. And it's like, you know, if you're a youngster and you see that and you're seeing how, you know, cute or beautiful they've drawn this character of Jenny, you think to yourself, man, what I wouldn't do to be in his shoes, right? And I think that's basically the whole scenario of it. It's called the dream level scenario. And that's something that you've seen, like I say, in not just in Western animation, but you've seen it in anime, you've seen it in live action, like I said, with Blank Check. You've seen it in comic books. And to me, it's a trope that, okay, we haven't seen it used as much lately, but it's still something that's out there. It still gets used. And you can go and rewatch those shows or movies or reread those comics that have this trope in it. And even when you go back and watch them, it still blows your mind. I mean, heck, freaking Transformers, Generation 1 had it. With Daniel and his situation with RC. I mean, seriously. and if you think that's crazy, Sonic the Hedgehog, the comic book, sort of had it with Tails Fiona. And then as some fans are putting it, are kind of trying to suspect or speculate, Tails Nicole, or maybe even before the whole behind-the-scenes BS happened, Tails and Mina, or Mina, if you will. And it's like, and again, you ask the question, why would they do this? Why? And it's all, and again, it's that dream lover scenario, it's that dream lover trope. Basically, they're making what would be a dream in reality to like young men and women who have crushes on all these big celebrities, all these cute guys and girls. It makes that dream lover scenario in the medium it's used in become a reality for them. In other words, they're able to live out their fantasies through these characters who are having it actually happen to them. Heck, you want a good example? My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, Spike, and Rarity. Need I say more? And there could be a bunch of other ones. I can't even think of them right now. But this is a trope in TV, movies, in TV, whether it's live action, anime, or Western animation. Movies, same thing, comic books, you name it. And people wonder why. What's going on here? I mean, heck, Princess and the Frog, Disney's Princess and the Frog sort of had this scenario. And I'm not lying on that. They had this scenario at the end, where Tanyana's best friend is dancing with the prince's younger brother, and he's 7.5, and she's like, well, I waited this long. It's basically the dream lover scenario, the dream lover trope, if you will. So, to me, again, it's the question of why do they use it? And I think, just like the absorption thing, it's a trope that they can go back to and they know it's going to work. They know fans are going to eat it up. Because it's basically fans are able to, it's basically for a fan, maybe a younger fan, older fan, whatever, they're able to live out their fantasy through this scenario they're seeing play out for real on their favorite show or movie or whatever. And again, it's basically something that has been done since the beginning of time. Mostly since the beginning of animation, since you see it more often in that than you do anything else. Well, like I say, with a few exceptions, like let's say